He made money. A poet, but an Englishman too. Do you know what is the pride of the English? Do you know what is the proudest word you will ever hear from an Englishman's mouth? The sea's ruler. His sea-cold eyes looked on the empty bay. History is to blame. On me and on my words. Unheeding. That is his empire, Stephen said. The sun never sets. Bah, Mr. Easy cried. That's not English. A French Celt said that. He tapped his savings pocket against his thumbnail. I will tell you, he said solemnly, what is his proudest boast. I paid my way. Good man, good man. I paid my way. I never borrowed a shilling in my life. Can you feel that? I owe nothing. Can you? Mulligan, £9, 3 pairs of socks, 1 pair of brogues, ties, curtain, 10 guineas. McCann, 1 guinea. Fred Ryan, 2 shillings. Temple, 2 lunches. Russell, 1 guinea. Cousins, 10 shillings. Bob Reynolds, half a guinea. Kohler, 3 guineas. Mrs. Kernan, 5 weeks forward. The lump I had was useless. For the moment, no, Stephen answered. Mr. Teasy laughed with rich delight, putting back his savings box. I knew you couldn't, he said joyously, but one day you must feel it. We are a generous people, but we must also be just. I fear those big words, Stephen said, which make us so unhappy. Mr. Deasy stared sternly for some moments over the mantelpiece at the shapely bulk of a man in tartan filibers, Albert Edward, Prince of Wales. You think me an old fogey and an old Tory, his thoughtful voice said. I saw 3 generations since O'Connell's time. I remember the famine. Do you know that the Orange Lodges agitated for repeal of the Union 20 years before O'Connell did, or before the prelates of your communion denounced him as a demagogue? Your Fenians forgot some things. Glorious, pious, and immortal memory. The Lodge of Diamond and Armagh, the splendidly hung with corpses of papishes, horse, masked and armed, the Planter's Covenant, the Black North and True Blue Bible. Crockett lied down. Stephen sketched a brief gesture. I have rebel blood in me too, Mr. Deasy said, on the Spindle side. But I am descended from Sir John Blackwood, who voted for the Union. We are all Irish, all king's sons. Alas, Stephen said. Per vitus rectus, Mr. Deasy said firmly, was his motto. He voted for it, and put on his top boots to tide to Dublin from the Ards of Down to do so. Loud the rocky road to Dublin. A rough squire on horseback with shiny top boots. Soft day, Sir John. Soft day, Your Honor. Day. The top boots jogged dangling on to Dublin. Loud the row the row the ratty. That reminds me, Mr. Deasy said. You can do me a favor, Mr. Dennis, with some of your literary friends. I have a letter here from the press. Sit down a moment. I have just to copy the end. He went to the desk near the window, pulled on his chair twice, and read off some words from the sheet on the drum of his typewriter. Sit down. Excuse me, he said over his shoulder. The dictates of common sense. Just a moment. He peered from under his shaggy brows at the manuscript by his elbow and muttering began to prod the stiff buttons of the keyboard slowly, sometimes blowing as he screwed up the drum to erase an error. Stephen seated himself noiselessly before the princely presence. Framed around the walls, images of vanished horses stood in homage, their meek heads poised in air. Lord Hastings Repulse, the Duke of Westminster's Chateaubourg, the Duke of Beaufort's Ceylon, Prix de Paris, 1866. Elfin riders and watchful of sign. He saw us
in a manila folder
back in
over
these
there,
colors and
and
showered with the
Chris
shouts of vanished crowds.
all the things that they're reading, so the people can see what's going
The
on.
prompt ventilation of this
Would you?
neighborhood.
Huh? Ask
Where
Chris.
Granny let me to get rich quick, hunting his winners among the mud-splashed brakes, among the balls of bookies on their pitches, and the reek of the Canterbury over the motley slide.
I brought it
Even money, farewell.
Friday or Saturday.
10 to 1 to field. Dicers and thimble-bringers, we hurried by and after the hoofs. The vine caps and jackets and past the meat-faced women of butcher's dame. nuzzling thirstily her clove of orange. Shouts rang shrill from the boys' playfield, and a whirring whistle. Again, a goal! I am among them, among their battling bodies and medley, their joust of life. You mean that knock-kneed mother's darling who seems to be slightly crossing? Jousts. Time shocked rebounds, shot by shot. Jousts! Slush and uproar of battles. The frozen death paw of the slain. A shout of spear, spikes baited with men's bloody guts. Now then, Mr. Deasy said, rising. He came to the table, pinning together his sheets. Stephen stood up. I have put the matter into a nutshell, Mr. Deasy said. It's about the foot and mouth disease. Just look through it. There can be no two opinions on the matter. May I trespass on your valuable space? That doctrine of laissez-faire which so often in our history? Our cattle trade. The way of all our industries. Liverpool ring which jockeyed the Galway in our harvest scheme. European conflagration. Grain supplies for the narrow waters of the Channel. The plute-perfect imperturbability of the Department of Agriculture. Pardon the classical allusion. The Sandra. By a woman who is no better than she should be, to come to the point at issue. I don't miss words, do I? Mr. Deasy asked as Stephen read on. Foot and mouth disease, known as Fox preparation, serum virus, percentage assaulted horses, rinderpest, emperor's horses in Munster, Lower Austria, veterinary surgeons, Mr. Henry Blackwood Prince, courteous offer of fair trial, dictates of common sense. All important questions. In every sense of the word, take the bull by the horns, thanking you for the hospitality of your columns. I want that to be printed in red, Mr. Deasy said. You will see on the next outbreak they will put an embargo on the Irish cattle. And it can be cured. It is cured. My cousin, Blackwood Prince, writes to me it is regularly treated and cured in Austria by cattle doctors there. They offer to come over here. I am trying to work up influence with the department. Now I'm going to try publicly. I am surrounded by difficulties, by intrigues, by backstairs influence, by... He raised his finger and beat the air oddly before his voice broke. Mark my words, Mr. Devilish, he said. England is in the hand of the Jews. In all the highest places of finance and press, and they are the signs of a nation's decay. Wherever they gather, they eat up the nation's vital strength. I have seen it coming these years. As sure as we are standing here, the Jew merchants are already at their work of destruction. Old England is dying. He stepped swiftly off, his eyes coming into blue life as they passed a broad sunbeam. He faced about and back again. Dying, he said, if not dead by now. The harlot's cry from street to street shall weave old England's winding sheet. His eyes opened wide and vision stared sternly across the sunbeam in which he halted. A merchant, Stephen said, is one who buys cheap and sells dear. Jew or Gentile, is he not? They sinned against the light, Mr. Deasy said gravely, and you can see the darkness in their eyes. And that is why they are wanderers on the earth to this day. On the steps of the Paris Stock Exchange, the gold-skinned men quoting prices on their gemmed fingers, gabbles of geese, they swarmed loud uncouth about the temple, their heads thick plodding under Malaquat silk hats, not theirs. These clothes, this speech, these gestures. Their full, slow eyes belied the words, the gestures eager and unoffending, but knew the rancors missed against them and knew their zeal was vain. Vain patience to heap and hoard. Time surely would scatter all. A horde heaped by the roadside, plundered in passing on. Their eyes knew the years of wandering and patience knew the dishonors of their flesh. Who has not, Stephen said. What do you mean, Mr. Deasy asked. He came forward a pace and stood by the table. His underjaw fell sideways upon uncertainty. Is this old wisdom? He waits to hear from me. History, Stephen said, is a nightmare from which I am trying to awake. From the playfield, the boys raised a shout.
That's famous.
A whirring whistle. Goal! What is the nightmare you give a back kick? The ways of the Creator are not our ways, Mr. Deasy said. all history moves toward one great goal, the manifestation of God. Stephen jerked his tongue toward the window, saying, "That is God! Hooray! Aye, hurry!" "What?" Mr. Deasy asked. "A shout in the street," Stephen answered, shrugging his shoulders. Mr. Deasy looked down and held for a while the wings of his nose tweaked between his fingers. Looking up again, he set them free. "I am happier than you are," he said. "We have committed many errors and many sins. A woman brought sin into the world. For a woman who has no better than she should be, Helen, the runaway wife of Menelaus, 10 years the Greeks made war on Troy. A faithless wife first brought the strangers to our shore here. McMurrow's wife and her Laman O'Rourke, Prince of Brittany. A woman too brought Pernell low. Many errors, many failures, but not the one sin. I am a struggler now at the end of my days, but I will fight for the right to the end. For Ulster will fight, for Ulster will be knight." Stephen raised the sheets in his hand. "Well, sir," he began, "I foresee," Mr. Deasy said, "that you will not remain here very long at this work. You were not born to be a teacher, I think. Perhaps I'm wrong." "A learner, rather," Stephen said. "And here, what will you learn more?" Mr. Deasy shook his head. "Who knows?" he said. "To learn one must be humble, but life is the great teacher." Stephen rustled the sheets again. "As regards these," he began. "Yes, Mr. Deasy said, you have 2 copies there, if you can have them published at once. Telegraph, Irish Homestead." "I will try," Stephen said, "and let you know tomorrow. I know 2 editors slightly." "That will do," Mr. Deasy said briskly. "I wrote last night to Mr. Field, MP. There is a meeting of the Cattle Traders Association today at the City Arms Hotel. I asked him to lady my letter before that meeting. You see if you can get into that in your 2 papers. What are they?" "The Evening Telegraph." "That will do," Mr. Deasy said. "There is no time to lose. Now I have to answer that letter from my cousin." "Good morning, sir," Stephen said, putting the sheets in his pocket. "Thank you." "Not at all," Mr. Deasy said as he searched the papers on his desk. "I like to break a lance with you, old as I am." "Good morning, sir," Stephen said again, bowing to his bent back. He went out by the open porch and down the gravel path under the trees, hearing the cries of the voices and the crack of sticks from the playfield. The lions grew shown on the pillars as he passed out through the gate. Toothless terrors. Still, I will help him in his fight. Mulligan will dub me a new name. The bullock-friendling bard. "Mr. Dedalus, running after me. No more letters, I hope." "Just one moment." "Yes, sir," Stephen said, turning back at the gate. Mr. Deasy halted, breathing hard and swallowing his breath. "I just wanted to say," he said, "Ireland, they say, has the honor of being the only country which never persecuted the Jews. Do you know that?" "No." "And do you know why?" He frowned sternly on the right ear. "Why, sir," Stephen said, leaving a smile. "Because she never let them in," Mr. Deasy said solemnly. A cough ball of laughter leaped from his throat, dragging after a rattling chain of phlegm. He turned back quickly, coughing, laughing, his lifted arms waving to the air. "She never let them in," he cried again through his laughter, as he stamped on the ground, his gated feet over the gravel path. "That's why!" And on his wide shoulders, through the checkerwork of leaves, the sun flung spangles. Dancing coins. Music stand.
Huh? Pardon me?
Somebody just turned on.
Oh.
Ineluctable modality of the visible. At least I have no more thought in my eyes. Signatures of all things I'm here to read. Sea spawn and sea rack, the nearing tide, the rusty boot, snot green, blue, silver, rust, colored signs, limits of the Daifang. But he adds in bodies. Then he was aware of them bodies before them colored. How? By knocking the sconce against them. Sure, go easy. Bald he was, and a millionaire. Mais politico sano. Limited diaphone in. Why in? Diaphane. A diaphane. If you can put your 5 fingers through it, it is a gate. If not, a door. Shut your eyes and see. Stephen closed his eyes to hear his boots crush back the shelves. And you are walking through it, howsoever I am, stride at a time. A very short space of time through very short times of space. 5, 6, the nacheinander. Exactly. And that is the ineluctable modality of the audible. Open your eyes. No, Jesus! If I fell over a cliff, that evil Zora's base fell through the nebenander ineluctably. I am getting up nicely in the dark. My ash sword hangs at my side. Tap with it, they do. My 2 feet in his boots or at the end of his legs. Nacheinander. Sound solid, made by the mallet of Los Domingos. I am walking into certain eternity. Along the sandy mount strand. Fresh, crack,
Your father took it upstairs.
While see money coming these weekends then out.
It's
Why don't you come to the sandy mountain and
the praise see if you can get it.
rhythm begins, you see. I hear the catalectric tetrameter of eons marching. No yellow, decline the mare. Open your eyes and I will. One moment. Has all vanished since? If I open it and in perpetual black a diaphane, basta! I will see my face. See now? There all the time without you, and ever shall be, world without end. They came down the steps from Ladies' Terrace prudently, balancing up, and down the shelving shore flabbily, their slitty feet sinking in the silted sand. Like me, the algae, coming down to our mighty mother. Number 1 swung luridly her midwife's bag, the others began poked in the beach. From the liberties of the day. Mrs. Florence McCabe, relict of the late Patrick McCabe, deeply lamented of Bride Street. One of her sisterhood loved me, squealing into life, creation from nothing. What is she in the past? A misbirth with a trailing navel cord hushed in ruddy gold? The cords of all linked back? Strand winding cable of all flesh? That is why mystic monks. Will you be as gods? Gaze in your own phallus. Hello, tinge here. Put me on to Enville. Aleph, Alfred, not one. Spouse and helpmate of Adam Kidman. Herman, naked Eve. She had no evil. Gaze. Belly without blemish. Bulging veil. A buckler of talk vellum. No white-heat corn. Orient and immortal. Standing from everlasting to everlasting. Wound of sin. Wound in sin darkness, I too may not be begotten. By them, the man with my voice and my eyes had a ghost woman with ashes on her breath. They clasped, rather fried with a herring? Sure. So much the better. We have nothing in the house but backache pills. Alerta! He drummed bars
Hi, if somebody comes, would they bring my movie camera, please? I forgot to bring that.
His tuneful whistle sounds again, finely shaded.
Well, that's fine. Whenever. That'll be fine. I have a movie. Bye-bye.
Houses of decay, wine, his and all. You told the clown girls gentry you had an uncle, a judge, and an uncle, a general in the army. Come out of that, Stephen. Beauty is not there, nor in the stagnant bay of Marsh Library where you read the fake prophecies of Joachim Abbas. For whom? The 100-headed rabble of the cathedral close. A hater of this kind ran from them to the wood of madness, his mane foaming in the moon, his eyeball stars. Hum hum, a Harzen drilled the ovally flying faces, Temple, Buck Elegant, Foxy Campbell, lantern jaws. Abbas, father, furious dean, what offense laid fire to their brains? Paf! Descendre cave ut neminam descendenis. A garland of gray hair on his colonnaded head, seeing me clambering down to the footspace, descended. Clutching a monstrance, basil ink-eyed, get down, bald hole. The choir gives back menace and echo, insisting about the altar's horns, the snorted lantern of jack priests moving burly in their howls, tonsured, oiled and gelded, fat with the fat of kidneys of wheat. And at the same instant, perhaps a priest round the corner is elevating. Bring, bring! And 2 streets off, another locking into picks. Bring, bring! And in the Lady Chapel, another ticking household all to his own cheek. 3. Down, up, forward, back. Dan often thought of that invincible victory. A misty English morning, the imp hypostasis tickled his brain. Bringing his host down and kneeling, he heard twine with his second bell, and the first bell in the transept. He was lifting news. And rising heard, now I'm lifting. There are 2 bells, he is kneeling. Twang in the diphthong. Cousin Stephen, you will never be a saint. Isle of Saints.
We're about done with part 1.
You prayed to the Blessed Virgin that you might
And we
not have a red
haven't
nose.
edited. I'm going
You
to
prayed
start
to the
editing.
devil in Serpentine Avenue that the Fusby widow in the front might lift her clothes still more from the wet street. Oh, see, Jacto. Sell your soul for that dude-dyed rags pinned around the squaw. More, tell me, more still. On the top of the house, tram along, crying to the rain, naked women. What about that, eh? What about what? What else were they invented for? Reading 2 pages a piece of 7 books every night, eh? I was young. You bowed yourself in the mirror, stepping forward to applause, earnestly striking face. Hooray for the goddamn idiot! Hooray! No one saw. Tell no one. Books you were going to write with letters for titles. Have you read this F? Oh, yes. But I prefer Q. Yes, but W is wonderful. Oh, yes. W. Remember your acclaims on green oval beams? Deep copies to be sent out if you died to all the great libraries of the world, including Alexandria. Someone who read them there after 2,000 years, Manahem Baretera, Pico della Mirandola, like I, very like a whale. When one reads these strange pages of one long gone, one feels that one is at one with one who once. The grainy sand had fallen under his feet. His boots trod again, a damp, crackling mass. Razor shells, sweeping pebbles that on the unnumbered pebbles beach would seep by the shipworm. Lost Amanda. Unwholesome sandflash waited to stump his treading soul, breathing upward sewage breath. He coasted them, walking warily. A quarter bottle stood up, starved to his waist. Kepi saying no. A sentinel, Isle of dreadful thirst. Broken hoops on the shore, the land of nature, dark cunning nets. Further away, chalk scrawled back doors on the higher creature trying line with 2 crucified shirts. Rings and wigwams of brown steersmen and master mariners, human shells. He halted. I have passed away to Aunt Sarah's. Am I not getting there? Seems not. No one about. He turned northeast and crossed the firmer sand toward the pigeon house. Qui vous a mis dans cette fiche musicien? C'est le pigeon, je sais. Patrice, home on furlough, lacked the warm milk with me in the barn man. Son of the wild goose, Cavaligan of Paris. My father's a bird. He lapped the sweet lait chaude with his pink young tongue. A plump bunny's face, lap hat. He stood to win in the gros lot. About the nature of women he read in Michelet, but he must send me La Vie de Jésus by M. Léon Taxil. Lent it to his friend. C'est ton don, vous savez, mais je suis socialiste. Je ne crois pas en l'existence de Dieu. Il ne faut pas le dire en anglais. Il croit, mon père, oui. Schluss. My Latin quarter hat. God, we simply must dress the character. I want goose gloves. You were a student, weren't you? Of what in the other devil's name? Paysan. ECN. You know, physics, chimie, naturel. Aha! Eating your goat's worth of mouassive flesh pots of Egypt, elbowed by belching cabmen. Just saying the most natural tone. When I was in Paris, bullish. I used to, yes, used to carry punch tickets to prove the alibi that the arrested you for murdering somewhere justice. On the night of the 17th of February 1904, the prisoner was seen by 2 witnesses. Other fellow did it. Other me. Hat tied over hook nose. Louis, say what? You seem to have enjoyed yourself. Proudly walking. Whom were you trying to walk like? Forget. You just possess. With mother's money, order 8 shillings. Banging the door of the post office, slammed in your face by the usher. Hunger, toothache. Encore 2 minutes. Look, clock. Must get it. Fermé. Hired dog. Shoot him in the bloody bits with a banging shotgun. Kit spans spattered walls, all brass buttons. Bits on here, in place, cut back. Not hurt? Oh, that's all right. Shake hands. See what I mean? See. Oh, that's all right. Shake a shake. Oh, that's all right. We were going to do wonders. What? Missionary to Europe after fire Columbanus? Fierce and Scottish on their creepy stools and having spilt from their pin spots? Loud Latin laughing. Oig, oig. Pretending to speak broken English as you drag your leaves. Quarter 3 pence across the slimy pier at New Haven. Come on.
Oh, eventually.
Rich booty you brought back. Le tutu. 5 tattered numbers of a Pantalon Blanc et Couleur Rouge. A blue French telegram. Curiosity to show. Mother dying. Come home, father. The aunt thinks you killed your mother. That's why she won't. Then here's a help to Mulligan's aunt, and here will tell you the reason why. She always kept things decent in the Hannigan family. His feet marched in sudden crown rhythm over the sun furrows, along by the boulders of the south wall. He stared at them proudly, piled stone mammoth skulls. Gold light on sea, on sand, on boulders. The sun is there, the slender trees, the lemon houses. Paris rawled and waking, crude sunlight on her linen streets, moist pitch of furrows of red, the fog-green wormwood, red martin incense, court the air. Then the Duomo rises from the bed of his wife's lover's wife. The kerchief housewife is austere, a saucer of acetic acid in her hands. In Bordeaux's Yvonne and Madeleine new make fair tumbled beauties, shattering with the gold teeth, chausson of pastry, their mouths yellowed with the peau of flamme pointon. Faces of Paris, men go by, their well-pleased teasers curled conquistadores. Noon slumbers. Kevin indulged gunpowder, cigarettes through his fingers, smeared with Petra's ink, sipping his green berry as Patrice was white. About us, gobblers poured spiced beans down their gullets. And then he said, a jet of coffee streamed from the burnished cauldron. She serves me at his bed. Il est Irlandais. Hollandais? Non, fromage. Tous Irlandais. No, Irlande, vous savez? Ah, oui. She thought she wanted a cheese Hollandais. Your postprandial. Do you know what that word is? Postprandial? There was a fellow I knew once in Barcelona, queer fellow, used to call it his postprandial. Well, slankta. Around the slab tables of tangled laying breaths and rumbling gorges, his breath hangs over our sauce-stained plates, the green fairy's fang thrusting between his lips. Of Ireland, the Alcacians, of hopes, conspiracies, of Arthur Griffith now. To yoke me as his yoke fellow, our crimes, our common cause. You're your father's son, I know the voice. His Faustian shirt, sanguine flower trembles, his Spanish tassels in his secrets. M. Drummond, famous journalist. Drummond, know what he called Queen Victoria? Old hag with the yellow teeth. Vieille ogresse avec les dents jeunes. Megan, beautiful woman, la patrie. M. Milboy, Felix Faure. Know who died? Licentious man. The Froken, Bonature Fair, who rubs male nakedness on the map of Uppsala. Moi faire, she said. Tous les messieurs. Not this, monsieur, I said. Mostly such as custom. Bath, a most private thing. I wouldn't let my brother, not even my own brother, most lascivious thing. Green eyes, I see you. Fang, I feel. Lascivious people. The blue fuse burns deadly between the hands and burns clear. Loose tobacco sheds catch fire. A flame and acrid smoke light upon the corner. Raw face bones under his peak of day boy's hat. How the head center got away, authentic version. Get up as a young bride, man. Veil, orange blossoms. Drove out the road to Hilda. Did pay of lost leaders, the betrayed wild escapes. Disguises, watch that, gone. Not here. Spurned lover. I was a strapping young garçon at that time. I tell you, I'll show you my likeness one day. I was Faith. Lover, for her, love, he prowled with Colonel Richard for a taste of his set. Under the walls of Clerkenwell and crouching, saw the flame of vengeance hurled upward in the fog. shattered glass and troubling masonry. In grey Paris he hides, eager of Paris, unsought by any safety, making his day stations the dingy printing press, his 3 caverns. The Mount Montpellier he sleeps short-nighted, Rue Liguette d'Or, demasked with flamboyant faces of the gone. Loveless, landless, wifeless. She is quite nice and comfy without her outcaster Madame, and Brigitte Lecoeur, canary and 2 buck lodgers. Peachy cheeks, a zebra skirt, frisky as young things, spurned and undersparing. Tell Pat you settled me, won't you? I wanted to get poor Pat a job one time. Wolfie's soldier of France. I taught her to sing. The boys at Kilkenny are still roaring blades. No, that old day? I taught Patrick's that. Old Kilkenny, St. Kenny, Strongbow's Castle on the north. Goes like this. Oh, he takes me and they protect me by the hand. Oh, the boys at Kilkenny. Weak wasting hand on mine. They have forgotten Kevin. Not he them. Remembering thee, old Simon? He had come nearer to the edge of the sea, and wet sand stopped his boots. The new air greeted him, hardening with wild nerves. Wind with wild arrows, seas of brightness. Here I am not walking out to the Kirchleitch yet, am I? He stood slow and suddenly, his feet beginning to sink slowly in the quaking sail. Turn back. Turning, he scanned the shore south, his feet sinking again slowly in his new sockets. The cold, doomed room of the tower waits. Through the barbicans, the shafts of light moving ever slowly, ever as my feet are sinking, creeping duskward over the Nile floor. Blue dusk, deep blue night. In the darkness of the dome they wait, their pushed-back chairs. My old obelisk valise around the board of abandoned platters. Who to clear it? He has the key. I will not sleep there when this night comes. A shut door of a silent tower entombing their blind bodies, the panther ship of his pointer. Call, no answer. He lifted his feet up from the suck and turned back by the mole of boulders. Take all, keep all. My soul walks with me.